right, y'all. Don't call it a comeback because we didn't go far. We are back at it again. A whole lot going on in the world, not even just in the world of MMA. We're on a goddamn lockdown. We got a video podcast going now. You can see Walid and I. It's crazy. Hi, guys. How you doing? Sorry about you had to see our ugly faces. A lot of shit's going to be changing here soon. We are currently on the Spreaker station, I guess, for our podcast. We're going to be moving that to Anchor. It's just a better platform for us in general. Walid and I do this podcast out of our pockets, so however we can make things more cost efficient for us, it works out. We got a lot of stuff to talk about because obviously we haven't talked to you guys in a minute. We also have two obviously great guests who have come on this show multiple times. Both of them, Jason Soares and Nadia Kassem, have been able to join us on their lockdown. Nadia all the way from Australia, and then Mr. Jason Soares from the great state of Florida. Now, Walid, you're out there in France, man. How's everything going for you right now during COVID-19?
Well, right now I'm just chilling, but I feel that like the situation is the same maybe in every country. Maybe 2 or 3 things that there's some things that are not the same, but people staying inside their home, not being able to go outside. Yeah, it is what it is. It sucks, but we need to do what we have to do is stay in our house.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm out here in Arizona, Nevada area, and it's the same thing. Everyone's on lockdown and pretty much just stay at home and chill and enjoy your family and get to know people that live with you.
Yeah.
Usually everyone's, especially in my house, we're all going. So it's been a nice, break to be able to just hang out and relax. And I'm a teacher now too at that, so I got another little thing I can put on my resume. It's wild times. But yeah, man, this fight game, it has not stopped. Dana White has talked about all kinds of wild shit. We're going to get into it later. I mean, including Fight Island, who Nadia Kassem and I are going to talk about that a little later because obviously she is an international fighter and that would be her only outlet to really fight right now because she could not come to the States. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, wild time. When somebody says, hey, listen, Dana's going to get an island and start flying fighters in, what was your first initial reaction?
Mortal Kombat. I directly think about Mortal Kombat. Like it's amazing, and the same time you need to be crazy like Dana to think about that, and that's what made Dana so successful. I believe he made the UFC so successful. It's he don't see things like other people.
100%. It reminds me of like some bad guy James Bond movie shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe just because he's bald, but whatever. But but he is really a genius because this Fight Island. I had a lot of people talking to me, asking me about what is that like because it was like a myth. I remember when I called my cousin and I told him that like he was so surprised, and I told him that he's even thinking about having the octagon in the middle of the beach. The beach, which is even more crazy. Like,
what if high tide comes in? Like, you'd really have to like plan that out perfectly.
Yeah. So listen, I'm not sure that we have all the answers. He didn't want to give all the answers, Dana. If you see.
He usually keeps things close to the chest.
Yeah, but this time he kept a lot of things secrets. Even the next card in Florida, he didn't give a lot of informations.
Oh man, we'll get into that whole UFC 249 debacle later. It's a crazy situation that's been going on. I mean, obviously there's tons of canceled bouts, like we'll talk about later with PFL and Bellator. One person that can't keep his name out of the headlines, and we're also going to discuss this later in greater detail, is Jon Jones. Your first initial reaction when you seen Jones had got himself in trouble, what was it?
It wasn't even a surprise. It was again. That's right. What when I read the story, I said again, like really. But you know what? I actually have a theory about that.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, I actually have a theory about that.
I see you were the one who broke the news to me, and when I seen it, I was just like, "What the fuck?" Like, I wasn't surprised. I think to you, I wrote again, like for real, like
we all had.
We're gonna keep doing this shit.
Yeah, we all had the same reaction, but yeah, it's kind of disappointing, sad. It makes me angry. It's John Jones.
It is John Jones.
Yeah.
Well, Wally, if you hold on for us for here a second, we're going to get Jason Soares here on the line, and we're going to discuss what he's been doing in his lockdown/quarantine time out there in Florida. So if you guys give us a second, we'll get Jason on. As always, you're listening to Native MMA Radio. All right, guys, joining me at this time is one of my favorite guests, PFL's next featherweight champion, the specimen himself, Jason Soares. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
No, of course, man. Obviously, last time we talked, you were so willing to face Lance in the very first matchup. That came to fruition that you guys were going to face each other, but unfortunately, because of our current state of affairs with COVID-19, that is no longer going to happen. How is your whole thought process going on right now with everything going on?
Yeah, no, listen, that's the only fight I wanted. I sort of wished it into reality. I remember I was doing jiu-jitsu class on a Friday night, and my coach came up to me and said, "Hey, you're fighting this date, and you're main event, and you're fighting Lance." And I screamed yes as loud as I could. I was just so happy about it. It's the only one that really motivates me. But the good news is that we got this horrible thing going on, this pandemic, and it's killing everything. But Ray, the CEO of PFL, already told me that the fight will be rebooked, and I still have that. As long as I'm fighting Lance next, I'm happy.
Excellent. So they have completely scratched this season. We're going on looking to next season. Have they told you guys when they're going to start this season yet?
No. Listen, I'm being optimistic and hoping that this everything reopens and they say, okay, let's do some fights this year, so at least I can get some fights in. But I know I'm pretty sure the season back. I'm hoping that they can at least put some fights on. I'm still down to scrap with Lance, even just a regular fight,
Yeah, no matter what, even if it's not the tournament, you still want to get it on.
No, I don't care. Yeah. I just want to fight him.
How have you been, just trying to stay active during this whole crisis? We talked about it earlier, all the gyms are closed around you. What have you been doing to stay focused?
Okay, so I know they released this thing. I don't know all the exact logistics of it, but so as far as I know, I'm legally allowed to train because I'm a professional athlete. So one of the statutes they put is that if you're a professional athlete, you're allowed to train just as long as the gym's not open to the public. So I've been doing everyday training still with some select guys. I'm just training, staying shape, putting in work, and I'm just gonna stay ready because, like I said, I'm being optimistic and hoping that PFL puts on some fights this year and I can get a fight. And if not, I'm just gonna box. I'll do some boxing fights this year.
Now you have that in your contract that you can cross over to other contract sports.
Well, yeah, I'm not allowed to do MMA, but Ray has said in the past I'm allowed to box. I can box.
And have you boxed before?
No, but I'll do it now.
It's something that you're looking forward to.
Yeah. It's better than doing nothing. I'm not gonna sit the whole year out doing non competitive things, and just getting lazy. I want to improve everything. So I'll box and still train MMA, and like I said, I'm hoping PFL would put some fights on. But if not, worst case scenario, I'll do 4 or 5 boxing fights.
And have you thought of a weight class for boxing yet?
I don't know. I think there's 147 or something like that.
Stay right around your MMA weight.
Yeah. I'd probably do that. I'll go in there and smash some guys up. It'll be fun.
That would be exciting. Have you guys even reached out to anybody? I don't know, it's kind of hard to do right now with all this whole COVID-19 thing, but have you reached out to anybody about potential boxing matchups?
No, I haven't done anything yet like that. I know that first of all, I have to go. I might fight out of country for the first 1 or 2 because I have to get I don't really know all the stuff behind it, but I have to get my card and things like that and start boxing. And then I know obviously I'm not going to get against some name guy. I have to, win some fights, and then hopefully I can just, get some good fights in.
Well, that's a good thing about having an agent on your side. You take care of all the X's and O's.
Yeah.
Now, what are you doing right now just to chill? I mean, obviously everything's kind of a lockdown. You can't go to a restaurant. Like you said, you're able to at least go to the gym. But besides that, what are you kind of doing to just stay motivated at this point in time?
Hey, so the good thing about me is I don't really do much. Like I'm legit a super homebody. So I just train, go home. My house is like a mile and a half from the gym, and this is really nothing for me. I'm like, I go to the Keys, which is like an hour away, and hang out, see my mom, my best friend. So like I just like I'm a homebody and I don't do anything. So this is really nothing for me. I hope everything goes back to normal so everyone else can get back to normal lives, but this has changed almost nothing for me.
It was business as usual for the specimen.
For real. For real. I don't really do anything. I don't go out. I don't party. I mean, a couple of the restaurants I like to eat at are now not open, so that's an inconvenience, but it's not bad.
Outside of that, you business as usual.
Yeah, I'm just doing everything normal.
Now, Ray, you and Ray have already talked about this. Lance matchup is going to happen for sure.
Yeah, they told me that when it got taken off that it will be rebooked, and I'm still fighting Lance, and that's the one I want. That's like the only one I'm looking forward to,
Now, do you know if there is also interest from Lance wanting to face you, because you are one of the only undefeated guys going into this year?
I'm sure that it's not. Like, I mean, just like thinking smart wise, like, why would you want to fight me? I'm not. My name isn't as big as his. Ain't even close. And so risk. The upsides for me, like I don't know. I guess if you're like a sports guy, I guess he has to be a favorite, but I just can't. I just can't put him as a favorite. Like he doesn't do anything better than me.
Most definitely, and a lot of people have said that a lot of his fights are kind of the same thing over and over again, and that you can kind of telegraph what he's doing. He's got one thing: he's going to wrestle you.
I'm not even trying to sound cocky. It's just not. It's a bad matchup for him. I can't imagine him liking it. But I don't know. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he looks and he thinks, oh, it's easy guy, I'm gonna wrestle take down. It's not. Either one.
Now,
yeah, no. I mean, one, he's been getting like these padded record guys and stuff like that. I don't know, and have no wrestling, no nothing. He just takes it and gets the win. He's good at what he does. Yeah, pretty good thing. I don't mind that bench but I broke up. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, we broke up there for a second.
Yeah, the last thing I said was about the Bubba Jenkins thing, and then I didn't hear anything you said.
Yeah, I was saying that pretty much, that he wants to fight you, and that I feel like it's something that he needs to do coming in as the champ, knowing that you're one of the bigger threats. You and Bubba Jenkins, as you spoke of, are two of the bigger threats to his throne.
I don't think Bubba Jenkins is a big threat to his throne, though. I think Bubba Jenkins is just like an Aaron Pico guy. Like he had a good wrestling career, but
a lot of hype.
He's not an MMA fighter, and it showed. He went to Bellator. I think he got smoked, and then he left to go fight like some bums in like Armenia or something. I don't know.
Well, see, and that's the one thing too with you coming out of Titan. That's a very well-respected organization, and you pretty much cleared house in that entire featherweight division. Anybody that they brought to you, you withstood the challenge and showed that you are a true defending champion.
Yeah, no, I cleared out Florida. There's no one in Florida that wants to face me, like, and I wouldn't either. But yeah, no, I cleared out all that for sure. Yeah, no, I think for sure I have to be on paper the hardest matchup for him. There's other guys. I don't know all the guys that are signed for the new tournament at 45, but I do know Bubba Jenkins is one of the signed guys. But I don't even know what Bubba Jenkins does. I just think he's just like Aaron Pico or whatever. That's good.
Now, is Bubba Jenkins someone that you would look forward to fighting in this tournament?
Yeah, but not nearly as much as Lance.
Definitely Lance is the name at the top of the list for you.
Yeah. No, I'd rather fight Lance, but Aaron, I mean the what's him called guy, the Bubba Jenkins guy, I would fight too. I mean, I'll fight anyone they put in front of me, but yeah, Lance definitely number one.
And that's been one thing for you too. A lot of people have doubted, putting a big test in front of you. For some reason, Dana White was given the idea that you were handpicked an opponent for your Contender Series fight, which is kind of funny because no matter who you really handpick, the guy was from ATT. The guy's from Florida. And if you ask me, it's California, Nevada, Florida, and those are kind of like the meccas of big time sport MMA fighters coming out. Now, for you, is it really going to the PFL? Is this kind of just showing the rest of the world what everyone should know?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, Dana White's a retard for saying that. Yeah, just like you said, like, yeah, I'm gonna handpick someone from ATT, like Coconut Creek, who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, all this stuff, like and change up like everything. You know, that's not. If I'm gonna handpick someone, I'm gonna grab someone from friggin' Arkansas that's 8-0, right? That's fought no one and doesn't know
from
anything.
Joe Blow, BJJ.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that was the stupidest comment I've ever heard. You know, like, that guy. If you fight anyone from Coconut Creek, a black belt, it's gonna be a good fight. You know what I mean? The guy's tough. But no, I just want to go in there. And, yeah, I just want to go in there and like put I love that. Like I said, that I don't like, you know, Lance is cool or anything like that, but I love that I get to fight him and like put a stamp on my name right off the bat. You know, just like finish the previous champ and here I am. You know.
And really, if you have a big, you know, emphatic victory, if you finish Lance, obviously something that a lot of people haven't done, that would really put all eyes on you in this featherweight tournament and make you the consistent favorite.
No, exactly. That's the point. I'm really, like, I'm telling you, man, I'm not going in there just to like beat Lance. I'm going to finish him in the second round. Second round, he'll get finished.
Now, with this second round finish, obviously seeing Lance once is probably not going to be the thing. You're probably going to see him again.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're obviously open to?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to finish him there. And then I'm going to see him in the tournament. And if they're smart, they'll put him on the opposite bracket of me, and then we'll rematch for the title.
In the finals, live, Madison Square Garden, the Specimen. It'd be the third fight at that point, or the second fight.
There'll be a third fight if we fight for the title, right?
I believe. Well, it depends on if you guys see. PFL's got a weird situation to where you could see him in the playoffs, you could beat him in the playoffs, and then see him in the finals again. Yeah, I could. You're right. Just definitely, I feel like if anyone falls out of that finals matchup against you, I think Lance would be the only person who would replace him.
Yeah, no. Oh, you're right. Yes, yeah, for sure. No, listen. The title fight, no one wants to see me in a title fight. Like a five round fight. Like I can't be beaten in a 5-round fight. It's impossible. It's like I feel like Lance says. I don't know if I never like listened to his stuff, but one of the training partners I brought in because when I was getting ready for this fight, he's an All-American wrestler. He said he was watching Lance and stuff like that, and he was telling me that Lance says he like takes pride in his cardio and stuff like that, but he doesn't because he never pushes hard. You know, he doesn't finish people. He doesn't push hard. He likes to play safe, so he doesn't take pride in his cardio. He's scared to get gas.
He's a very safe fighter.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a magnificent knockout from him at all. Not even a knockdown.
Yeah, no, he plays very safe, and he doesn't like to overextend himself, which is
he's
fine.
Great wrestling. I'll give him that.
He's strong.
Exactly. Now you said you brought in some training partners. Who else did you bring in? You know, in prepare for Lance.
So I just started camp, right? Like when they told me to fight was going on, and COVID just started. Stuff like that. And I had brought in Southern. He's awesome. He does MMA as well too. And then the fight got canceled, and then all other guys had some guys like we were gonna then I got noticed that it was canceled, so we canceled everything. You know, I still finished training with him, and we'll bring him back out for the next camp when I do fight this guy. But we're just waiting. You know, I have guys now on the list now that are ready to go.
You're hoping to get it in this year. So if PFL called you, say August, they said, hey, listen, we're not going to start the tournament quite yet. We still want you to face Lance and say November. You're ready to go?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be in shape, man. I'm in shape right now. It'll take me 2 weeks to like get like fight weight. You know, like I'm in shape. I'm ready to fight.
You stay fight ready most of the time, don't you?
Yeah, like it never takes me longer than like 2 weeks to be like feeling amazing and going 5 rounds, 3 rounds super hard of MMA. So yeah, I don't let myself get like fat or overweight or anything.
Now, you're still at all the same gyms?
Yeah. I still train at Freestyle Fighting Academy right here in Miami.
Shaheen Santana still over there with you guys?
No, he's actually not.
Really?
Yeah, he's not.
That's too bad.
Shaheen's really good. He's really.
I like him.
He's homegrown, like from us. Started at nothing, and now he's a brown belt under us. But he's very good. He should do well. Hopefully, he still remains training and does his thing. Shaheen's really good.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on him for a while. He fought on one of the same Titan FC cards on you. That's when I first seen him.
Yeah, he should. I don't know if he's going to, because I want him to, but he should be a 45er.
I could see him at 4. He'd be a tall, lengthy 45er.
Super, but the thing is, when we fought that day, and I was heavier the morning of weigh-ins, and I was heavier fight night than him. He doesn't cut much weight to get.
Oh wow, he's a natural 55er.
Yeah. He's a 45er.
That's crazy, man. That kid's got a lot of talent. I could see him doing things in the future.
Yeah, super good. I mean, honestly, I think he's 4-0 now. I'd like to see him. I mean, he finished his next 2 or 3 guys and knocked some people out, and UFC will sign him for sure.
No, for sure. Now, for you, Mr. Soares, what are you doing on your downtime right now? No, obviously you're always raising pups.
Yeah, I just have my bulldogs. Golf courses got open today, so I'm looking to golf this week, and I'm just training once a day right now. We're training in the morning session, 11 a.m. Got some guys, and that's pretty much all I'm doing, man. I got the pups, and I got golf that just reopened, and yeah, it's pretty simple right now. That's all. But like I said, I'm not really a complex person. I don't really do much.
You should just go jump on the amateur tour, PGA.
Yeah. on the what?
On the amateur tour for PGA.
Listen, you can bet this, that when I'm done fighting, I'm golfing every day, and I'm gonna get on the PGA tour. That's that's my end of the career, after fighting goal.
I can't wait, man. That's gonna be awesome. Well, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I know it's very valuable at this time, but I want to thank you again for coming on. I want to give you a quick opportunity to give a shout out to your sponsors, teammates, loved ones, anyone that's really helped you along your MMA journey. No,
man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm training at Freestyle Fighting Academy here in Miami. We're open 24/7 other than COVID time, okay? Normally, right now we have to be closed, but when gyms are legally allowed to be open, we'll be open again 24/7. You guys, anyone that wants to come and train, come check us out. And that's all, man. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. No, of course, brother. Thank you again. And where can the fans find you on social media before I let you go? Okay, so Jason Soares on Facebook, and then Specimen Soares on Instagram and Twitter, but I'm never on Twitter. Just find me on Instagram. Fuck Twitter. Yeah. There you guys have it. The Specimen himself, the should have been 2020 PFL featherweight champion, but don't worry, we're going to get that 2021 title, no problem. Jason, man, thank you for your time, and I can't wait to watch you continue your success here in MMA. You're the man. Thank you, buddy. Of course, man. Have a good one. You too. All right, guys. So welcome back, Jason Soares. Thank you for spending a little time with us on your busy quarantine. Let's be serious. No one's that busy right now. We're all fucking on lockdown. But hey, it sounded great, okay? Professional athletes, they're still kind of busy. He's trying to get it in where he can. And we're going to figure out what Nadia Kassem's doing here in a little bit. But before we get into all that, Walid and I had a couple topics that we wanted to discuss and go over with you. Starting off with UFC 249, which was originally scheduled to be at the Barclays Center in New York. It was originally headlined by Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson 5, but they never fought. Yeah. Anyways, we all know what happened there. That did not happen. The fight was canceled completely. Then Justin Gaethje jumped in. Now it's going to be Gaethje versus Tony for the interim title. 249 was then moved to California before it was ultimately completely postponed. So now it's not even going to be in April. So now it's May 9th? May 9th, I believe, yes. May 9th, we finally got the date. UFC 249. It's going to be in Florida. Here we go. Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson for the interim lightweight title.
with all the scenarios that have now played out in front of us, is this the most interesting reason why Habib versus Tony has been canceled?
Listen, the reason why it got canceled because of this virus. Then again, people talked about why did Habib go back to Russia or stuff like that. If I'm correct, I believe I read something about the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, saying and asking for all the Russians to go back to Russia so that they can close the border. So he gave them a deadline to all. Like, it wasn't Habib's choice. And even if it wasn't Habib's choice,
pretty much if you want to come home and be with your family, you need to do it.
Yeah. Okay. If he wants to be near his and listen, he lives in the mountain. There's no maybe Dagestan will not even be affected by this virus. I'm not sure. I don't know, but I don't think that it will be a part of the world that will be very affected by this virus. They live like in the middle of nowhere. Lot of people going or coming. It's the perfect place to stay healthy. And he has his family there. The man has
his entire family there. He doesn't have to worry about anybody. He's not seeing his kids through a cell phone like I'm sure he does a lot of the times. He's with his family. His dad's there, his mom's there, his wife's there, all his kids are there. He deserves to have that time. He is the undisputed lightweight champion of the world, and you cannot take that from him. I don't care who you are. And at this point, I mean, he's deserved a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, and listen, he's a very important person in his city, in his country. So as a huge public figure like him, to be back in his house and staying in his house, he's giving the example for his true fans who are from Dagestan, his true family, and he's leading his people on the right way. So I'm not hating on Habib going back to Russia or it is what it is. This is something special, something that never happened in the history of humankind, I believe. So it's easy to throw rocks at people or whatever, but in fact, we are having a great fight between Tony and Justin Gaethje. But before that, I want to ask you. That fight. Yeah, I want to ask you because there's something very interesting and very important we need to talk about. Tony cutting weight. What did you think about that?
I thought it shows how much the guy is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
We've talked to plenty of fighters before, and I've never heard any of them say that they enjoy cutting weight or that they're even kind of like it. Pretty much everyone says it's fucking miserable. I've never had to cut weight in my life, so I can't really attest to what have to go through it. But I got a good picture of what it takes, and obviously it's a lot of mental fortitude that you have to go through, just starving yourself to even make it, or eating healthy or eating smart, however you do it in your way. But I mean, the guy said that he was going to make weight on that day, and Tony Ferguson is a man of his word, I guess. Can't ever say that he's not. He made weight on that date. He sent it in to multiple high-level reporters, including Ariel Helwani and Brett Okamoto of ESPN. He did what he said he was going to do. He made weight for his fight, and it didn't even have to happen. So, I mean, the dude's just he's an animal, a wild man.
Yeah.
Crazy situations. I mean,
I
don't think anyone is that dedicated. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead of you, but I just don't think there's anyone that dedicated.
No, actually, I have another question for you. Do you think that his team and himself knew that the fight will be rescheduled for May? And if so, do you think that cutting weight before recutting weight, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after is a good idea?
Listen, Eddie Bravo is a smart man. He's got a lot of connections throughout the jiu-jitsu world and the MMA world. I'm sure as soon as there was inklings of, this isn't going to happen, he was one of the first to figure it out. So Tony was right there knowing as well. How much time they had to know, we don't really know unless they come out and tell us. It's a weird situation. I don't know if he would have told him to do it. I don't even think if Eddie Bravo told Tony not to cut that he wouldn't have. I mean, do you think that he would have listened? Tony's is an out there character. He's really won over fans with that weirdness kind of.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this point in time, he's the only real threat to Khabib Nurmagomedov. And unfortunately, fifth time was not a charm.
Yeah. And this
But
fight
like
against,
you said,
yeah.
we get a great fight with Gaethje.
Yeah, and it's not a walk in the park. Like, it's not an easy fight. Listen, it's a crazy fight. And, yeah, he can lose. He can lose. And even if he wins,
a big risk.
Even if he wins, he can really damage himself, because for sure it's going to be a war. For sure.
There's much more risk than there is any kind of reward in this fight with Tony Ferguson. Yeah. For sure, 100%. There's no doubting that.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, Ramadan. When's Ramadan over?
I believe maybe, let's say, by the end of May. It just started. Like, we just started fasting, so just been a couple of days.
End of May. Oh, well, I talked to Nadia about that too, because she is a proud devout Muslim.
Okay.
But at the end of May, so what time does Khabib usually like to come back? October, right around then.
Listen.
Gives himself enough time to get ready and come back, because he usually gives himself about a couple months to get his body back in shape.
He said before all this happened, when they were talking about a fight between Khabib and Conor, number 2. After this fight, after all got canceled, and before all got canceled, and before the Corona stuff, Khabib and Dana said that he needs 1 month after Ramadan, so it's by the end of June. I thought that he will be back by August. Okay, that's what I thought. But the fact that Dana said September, October, which can lead to December until January, because we know this MMA world how it goes. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they I believe Dana don't know yet. He's just, maybe he gave this date because it's kind of far, and he's wishing for at least this date. But there's no guarantee that Khabib will fight in September. I hope so, but there's no guarantee.
Listen, it's crazy times. All we could do is sit back and wait and figure out how this whole UFC 249 plays out. We'll get into UFC 249 much more next week, as it is next weekend.
Yeah.
What I want to talk to you about real quick is all these canceled fights. PFL has completely canceled their 2020 season. They have gotten rid of some fighters. They've put in fighters on a stipend, which I believe is like $1,000 a month, which isn't a whole lot. It's $250 a week. Isn't a whole lot of money in America. Bellator has postponed Bellator 241, 242, 243, 244. 241 was on an Indian reservation in Connecticut. I believe that is the same reservation that UFC plans on going to in a couple weeks. So, I mean, obviously that was Bellator's choice to cancel that card. 242 and 243 were both in California, one in San Jose, and then the other in Temecula. And 244 was in Chicago, which we just found out earlier, I believe 6 days ago, which was Chandler versus Benson Henderson. That is now postponed as well. Crazy times. I mean, it sucks for these fighters, because obviously, as you and I know, fighters only make money when they fight.
Yeah, and those two companies, as great as they are not as big as the UFC, so they can't make deals like the UFC. The UFC can actually have cards without any crowd. Yes. They don't need. Yeah, they are
need
so
the revenue
big
from the gate.
They are so big that they can handle it without the revenue, and keep on moving. But Bellator and PFL, I believe it's harder than that. So it's very tricky. I hope that everything will be okay. Even though you said that they give the fighters like $1,000, it's better than nothing.
That's just PFL. Bellator, I know for sure, for their 241 fighters, had paid out everybody win and show bonus money.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Coker took care of everybody 242, 43, and 44. Coker is pretty good at taking care of his guys. I haven't heard anything about anyone losing on a whole lot of money. I mean, just obviously the situations that we're in right now.
Yeah, Cormier, actually, DC talked about Coker, saying that he's a very nice man, and he really handled the situation very well with the fighters. He have a good relationship with fighters. There's a lot of respect with fighters, and still till this day, he has a good relationship with DC.
I've met him twice. Okay.
Yeah.
We're just little-known fucking podcasters, media guys. He's been nothing but nice to me, had nothing but respect, shook my hand, treated me like I was fucking Ariel Helwani. You know what I mean? That's just the type of guy he is. He doesn't care if you're the headliner or the first guy out of the card, he's going to look at you the same way. He's going to take care of you. He's just a great guy, Scott Coker. And I love the entire Bellator organization, all those guys over there. Every time we go there, we were supposed to be covering 242 and 243, which I believe this weekend and then 2-3 weekends from now. But yeah, we're not doing any of that. California shut it all down.
I was even thinking about the summer. I thought that maybe Bellator would have a card here in France during the summer. They even created a French Instagram account for Bellator, but I believe they post something saying that everything got canceled and postponed. So, but nobody knows what's going on.
Listen, one man who didn't give a damn about being postponed, canceled, locked down, or anything else is Mr. Jon Jones. He said, fuck it, give me my gun. I'm going to go drive around and pop fucking, gunshots off the side of the car. I don't really think that was a good idea while driving to just shoot out the window. But I guess if you're the UFC light heavyweight champion, Jon Jones, you can do whatever you want in your eyes. He can't keep himself out of the news. Like we said earlier, it's like, again, it's the most craziest situation ever. Wally, you had a theory on why this all went down. Could you please share that theory with us now?
Yeah, I actually think that it's bad for his image, but I think that he thinks that it's not bad for him. Because, let me explain. If you recall his last fights, Jon Jones really tried to change his behavior. In the press conference, it didn't look natural. Yeah, it was weird, okay? It's like a guy that was trapped in a cage and he didn't even, he wasn't being allowed to really act like he really could. And
he
really
had a leash
should.
on him.
Yeah. So, and those last fights, they weren't his best fights. His prestation wasn't that good. He didn't fight well. Even his last fight, a lot of people say that
I was at the Anthony Smith fight, and I was at the Thiago Santos fight. I thought he lost to Santos. Yeah. I was there. I 100% wholeheartedly thought that he lost to Dominic. Yeah. I don't care what the hell you say. Watch that fight over and over and over again. Dominic Reyes should be the UFC light heavyweight champion right now, currently. Unfortunately, we know in Houston, they don't know how to judge very well. So that fight went to Jon Jones because he is Jon Jones, and they gave him that win.
And even if, let's say he clearly won those 3 fights, his opponents got more positive comebacks than him. Anthony Smith, people said that he had big hearts. Santos, people are still amazed of how he could continue the fight.
How he even walked out of the octagon that night.
Which is inhuman.
And I physically seen him walking out of the octagon, so I can attest to the man walked out of the octagon that night. Craziness, man.
And Reyes is the only person that was chasing Jon Jones in the octagon.
Dude, Reyes looked like a man possessed that night. I really thought, honestly, if they fight again, Reyes knocks him out. I feel that, and I feel like it's going to be a Shogun versus Machida situation.
So this is my theory, okay? The last time he fought those 3 fights, he was changing his behavior in front of the press, in his house, everything. It didn't work out well for him.
No.
So maybe he thought, you know what? Fuck this. I will go out. I will drink. I will do my crazy behavior because that's what brought me here. Yeah. Let's imagine. Maybe it's that, okay? Because in the world of sports, because there's pro athlete, there's great athlete, but the genius of each and every sport, they have that kind of little craziness in them. And maybe he prefers, you know what? I will embrace my craziness. I will embrace it because that's why when I was young, I was 23, 24, 25, I was destroying former champions and former legends of the game. So why change right now? Let's keep on being crazy. And maybe that's that. I'm not sure about that, but that's my theory.
You never know. Maybe he say, fuck it. It's not hurting my fighting style, so let's just keep doing it. I mean, it keeps him out of the octagon because he does stupid shit. But it's just a crazy situation. One last thing, and then I'm going to leave it at that. Do you think the UFC strips him of his title?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think if it was going to happen, it would have already been?
There's maybe he was saved by this, what's happening right now. So the focus is not on him.
Did you see the video?
I actually did not. I need to see
It was bad. You need to
Oh
see the
yeah,
video. It was bad.
he was talking to the cop saying that he
Yes.
have short lost memory or stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually heard about it. I didn't see it. It's kind of sad when you watch it.
It is.
Yeah, it is. But it is what it is. It's John Jones.
And we talked about his former, cohort, Anthony Smith, for a second. He had another interesting situation happen to him. He had an intruder actually break into his house. He obviously, Anthony Smith was in the middle of the night. His wife woke him up, said someone is downstairs. Anthony, goes into protective dad mode and goes downstairs, and there's a man standing in his house, and they get into a scuffle. Anthony Smith does everything that he can, holds the guy back. The police come, arrest the guy. Crazy situation. So even on lockdown, you're not even safe in your own home.
Yeah, that was a creepy story. It's something that I have sometimes a nightmare about it. I don't know why, if people bring it into my house or my parents' house, so it was weird watching it. But what was more weird and more scarier is that if Anthony Smith can't really handle easily an intruder in his house, I will not. I can't. If he can't, for sure I can't.
I live in Arizona, and we carry guns out here.
Yeah.
I will shoot you.
Yeah. So that you know what? Maybe you, the U.S., have something there. Maybe you are right, because there are some countries that you can't do that. You're not allowed to have a weapon in your house.
Listen,
there's some countries
criminals don't listen to laws.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No, but there's countries, if there's someone in your house trying to rob you or kill you, if you kill him, you can end up in jail. Okay? So props to the US maybe for that, but it's crazy. And it's scary. And and Smith is he's a beast, man. The way he described the story was amazing.
He broke it all down on the Hawani show right after it happened. I mean, this is a crazy situation. And obviously, John Jones, again, couldn't shut his mouth talking shit on the internet about the whole situation. Just class act, Mr. John Jones himself.
Yeah, always, of course. Of course, John Jones. But
now, speaking of Hawani's got a new show out with DC, man. I know that you give it high praise. Tell me, what do you enjoy the most about it?
You know what? I enjoy them talking about everything. Everything in general. They talked about a girl that was bullying Ariel when he was young. They are talking about they are talking about.
Is that why he started the boxing?
Listen, they were talking about Ariel asking DC to protect him from Darren Till because he trash talked Darren Till and Darren Till. They are the greatest entertainer right now in the MMA world. They are talking about everything and nothing. And DC is funny as hell. Ariel, actually, I'm liking him more right now because he have more freedom. I feel like he's not giving
showing his personality more.
Yeah, he's saying it like it is. No more Ariel Hawani crying. No more Ariel Hawani hiding hiding behind stuff. It's Ariel Hawani coming out and saying, "Listen, this is who I am. I would try to talk trash with MMA fighters, and it's great. I'm loving
Dylan Dennis that he's got better striking than him.
Yeah, he said that. He said that he's better striking than Dylan Dennis and Ben Askren. And DC told him, you know what? DC told him, maybe you have better striking than those two. This is how crazy this shit is going.
The funniest part that I heard DC say in the whole thing is he said something about Askren. He said some shit like, he was about to win a world title in the UFC and not be able to fight.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to fight. Just know how to wrestle. Just go in there and wrestle somebody. That's all you could do.
It's amazing. I'm really enjoying listening to them. It's a great show, and it's just distracting us and giving us entertainment in those difficult times.
For sure, as we are trying to do for everyone right now as well, trying to distract y'all from this bullshit. Yeah. Well, that kind of wraps it up for our current event recap. Everything that's going on section. We got Miss Nadia Kassem going to come up next. Miss 187, Australia's own, coming to rep it for us one more time. So if you give us a minute, I will get her on the line. As always, you are listening and now watching Native MMA Radio. All right, guys, joining me at this time is one of my favorite guests, Australia's own Nadia Kassem. How you doing, Miss Nadia?
Hey, I'm back again.
Right, again, yeah, it's like our fifth time, right? Fifth time's a charm. This time's a little different. Right now, you're in lockdown, man. It's a crazy situation that our world is in. How are you just kind of trying to stay active and sane at this point?
You know, I've just been sticking to what I've always wanted to do, just like train. And as most people know, like I'm kind of a bit of a loner anyway, so I don't really like overly go out and things like that. And I'm good with adjusting to change. So for me, even though everything was kind of drastic, the only change I had to adapt to was seeing more people outdoors, because you know everyone's doing the exercise, and you know suddenly there's like couples and families everywhere, and I'm like, go home. Just my street now.
Now they're getting in your zone now.
Yeah, exactly. But it's honestly it's okay. Like I've done well, and I think that it's all gonna blow over shortly. So I've kept it down. You know, it's been well.
Well, I see the boxing bag right behind you. Are you getting some rounds in over there?
Yeah, we got this live bag. It's actually really light though. I've been using it, but it's horrible because it makes a lot of noise. Like, because we've attached it to the thing outside,
The awning.
and you just move it, and the whole thing just shakes. Like, the neighbors hate us. But it's alright. They understand.
I'm sure they understand. I mean, you're living next to a professional fighter. There's some things you're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah, right. I mean, we've never discussed it, but they always see me like on the daily, you know, when I would go training with all my workout gear and all. And yeah, so them and our places are really close to each other, so I'm sure they hear everything, but it's all good. They love it. They can't complain. If they do, they can tell me.
Right? No, for sure. And I'm sure no one's going to come knock on your door like, hey, listen, you guys are a little loud.
Oh, yeah, a bit ballsy. Someone to do that, but...
Well, do you know who that is?
Right.
That's the UFC girl on the street. You don't want to fuck with her. She's crazy.
Yeah, smart advice. Roll with that.
So,
yeah. How are you, mate? You been coping all right, though?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I mean, I guess this is kind of like our new normal that we're going to be dealing with here for a little bit. It's something that we're just going to have to get used to. It's weird for me because like next week I was supposed to go to the Bellator fights covering those, and like everything's canceled, so it's just everything's kind of on standstill.
Yeah, that would have been amazing for you. I know you'll really enjoy that type of stuff, covering that. That'd be sick, but it's alright. I mean, the opportunity will arise again. It's just
for sure.
To be an empire. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, there's definitely many more. Plus, it gives me more time to just upgrade my equipment, keep going, and then just doing more interviews, getting this thing. I feel like doing video interviews like this is going to be more of the normal nowadays than doing, face-to-face interviews.
Yeah, I mean, it's more convenient. Lockdown or not, like I think it's more convenient anyway.
Well, especially for us.
Always on the go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Now, for you, what have you been? Have you been just your same routine? Has anything really changed for you besides obviously not being able to go to the gym and interact with training partners?
No, not too much. I mean, the only thing is like I have to actually travel. Like I'll go somewhere with my coach, and then like we will do our own training somewhere, like outdoors. It just sucks because I be sparring and grappling, like, and I think that grappling is something that I've been trying to work on the most, and then I don't have the opportunity, so it kind of sucks. And yeah, like I'm not really meant to reveal anything, but I do have a fight booked, and that's something that I'm supposed to happen soon. So I'm just trying to stay ready as much as I can, and it's hard though for weight cuts and things like that. That's what sucks because, you know, I've, as everyone knows, other people should know, like I said, I'm not going to fight flyweight. I want to go to strawweight, back to strawweight. So for me to like go down that low and then like be unsure as well, it's like really confronting and it's a bit scary, but it's a risk. So I'm just trying to manage and everything else. But mentally, I'm good and I'm coping and I'm taking care of myself and, you know, I'm just doing what I have to do to get by.
Yeah, and I think just the fact that this is going to be a lot of like, you can build on your mental game, a lot of like fight IQ stuff, you know, just studying film and stuff like that. Now, for you, you've been very vocal. You said you were down to fight on Fight Island. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Dana, send the jet.
Yeah, Dana, let's go now. Well, honestly, it doesn't really matter where it is or like I'm down to go, but of course, all I got to worry about is our flight restrictions here.
Yeah.
We can't leave the state.
You guys cannot leave the state. If you guys if you do leave the state, what happens?
I don't know. I'm assuming like when you come back, you have to be quarantined. Like, but the thing is, we're not allowed to leave. So
yeah, you can't leave at all. So there's no visas, no nothing, not even a private jet.
Yeah, see, that's something that I was thinking. I was like, if you're gonna private jet me.
Because I know they were talking during that whole Khabib thing, like he could leave Russia only on a private jet type situation.
Yeah, well, I think that would be a similar situation. But the thing is, like, would Dana White or the UFC cater to
who the fuck has a flying jet just sitting around?
Yeah, I know. Or like cater to us Aussies who we're not like A-star athletes for him. You know what I mean? So it's not worth it.
I would say you are.
No,
I would not knock yourself like that. You think that?
Nah. Yeah, I do.
There's a lot of upcoming Australians who are really going to be making waves here, especially if you even just group together you and New Zealand. That whole region is just a huge.
If it's a group of us, of course, because I mean, you got Alex, you got Rob Whittaker, and you've got Israel. Like those three are the highest.
Yes.
In New Zealand. If you put them on a plane with all of us, and yeah, that makes sense. But just a few of us here or there that be like, fuck, we don't need you guys.
Now, now I know the United States has a stipulation to where if you're a professional athlete, you can do pretty much the training that you need for your, sport. Does Australia have anything like that in place?
Sorry?
Does Australia have anything in place to where you're able to train and do whatever you need to train in your sport?
No, there's no facilitation for any of us. There's nothing we can do except for outdoor. Like we can go to parks. There's nothing else. There's no football. There's no soccer. There's nothing happening. So if MMA and UFC marks the first to compete, then that'd be amazing. Everyone's bored. Everyone's watching repeats, Formula One like cars. Everyone's watching like repeats on any type of thing that they can. For example, my stepfather's into the cars and things like that. So they're just watching shit like that, but they want the real deal. Everyone wants new action.
Yeah, there's type of situations where you don't even know when it's going to be lifted, so you almost got to stay fight ready.
Literally, that's what it's all about, staying fight ready. That's why I've got this new meal sponsor on board as well, Fit and Healthy Chef, and they're helping me out because I had a meal plan with my dietitian. His name is Geordie from the Fight Dietitian. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, he can send me meal prep stuff to cook and all that. But the thing is, every week if you monitor my weight, and then it's you're in a fight, it's kind of. So he's teamed up with them as well, and they've been both helping me out. And I appreciate everything because I feel like I got all the right support around me right now. I'm just doing what I can, but everyone's great. My strength coach is sending me programs to do at home. All the limited supplies I need. If I really wanted to, I'm sure he'd let me borrow some stuff. He's really cool. Anomaly Performance has been amazing. And then I've got my Australian top team coaches, Ashkan and Saman, who, of course, there for me. Whenever you want to train, come down. Even to their personal residence, they're really catering that way. So, yeah, everyone's been great.
That's good. How did the new deal with the your meal plans? How did that all work out? How did that come together?
Sorry.
How did you deal with your new meal plans? Yeah, how'd that come together?
Yeah, so basically, I got approached by them, and I know that in the past, Geordie, my dietitian, has mentioned them to me, but I don't know why I was so hesitant in the past. I don't know if it was a money thing or if it was just I'd like to cook as well sometimes. But then after I was prepping for about 5-6 weeks, then all this lockdown things started happening. I was like, you know what, I'm kind of over it, like over prepping my own meals. I'll just try it out. And then they did hit me up as well, and they offered me a decent deal. And then we've gone from there. And this is the second week of meals now. And honestly, like flavor wise, I was like, why didn't I do this before? Like, because I've obviously I can make my own food well, but obviously I'm trying to like keep diet food, nothing saucy and as enjoyable as I want to make it. But it's amazing. And I was like, fuck, I feel stupid. I should have done this way earlier. It's amazing. I love it. No complaints.
So they're not lacking in the flavor department at all?
Not at all. And like my quantity size is like swim maintenance, you know, and there's like performance gain, there's performance, and then there's muscle gain. There's so many different ones. But like I thought it wouldn't be enough. He goes, nah, I think you need more, but I'm fine. Like I'm full all the time. I don't go hungry, and that's the main thing. Like you're not meant to starve, you know. There's a right and wrong way of dieting, and my biggest mistake in the past, especially to make straw weight, was thinking you have to be hungry to be making weight. You know, you're starving yourself. Yeah, it's the right way, but it's not. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I'm enjoying the learning process.
Definitely. There's a big, huge science behind what you put in your body, and having somebody right there, you know, helping you, giving, you know, meal prepping, everything for you, just that extra effort, and something that you don't have to worry about and stress over.
Oh my God, it's literally like, I feel like I stress about food unnecessarily. Like it's something that you shouldn't even be worried about. And it's something for me that, like, oh, I gotta go home, I gotta make this. I don't have time to go home and then go to the gym and then train, and all like that stuff like gets me. I don't know why I freak out about it so much. But now that I have that one less thing off my head, I'm like, all I gotta worry about is sweating and busting my ass in training. That's it. And doing my house things, you know what I mean? Which is normal. Like house things is house things. Everyone's got to do it. Yeah. But that's it. You know what I mean? And it's actually a big relief.
No, most definitely. Now, obviously, this whole thing is kind of up in the air on when it's going to be over. Now, for you being a fighter, you're ready to go right now, correct?
Yeah.
When was your fight scheduled? You had a fight scheduled. It was supposed to be like the next couple of weeks, correct?
No, a bit more than that. And then to be like the next month or so, about 5 weeks.
Damn, so you were almost looking for that payday here in about 5 weeks.
Yeah, so you kind of like prepare for that, and then if you don't get it, it's like, oh well, I haven't fought since October, you know, bit of a while.
And especially with everything that's going on right now, it's really up in the air, because I mean, if you look at like our current situation, I mean, Khabib just said, I'm not coming anywhere, I'm not fighting, find a replacement. Now we got Gaethje coming in here. They're coming up from different fights, from different fight cards. I mean, if they have a fight island and Dana calls you, you obviously said you're ready to go, right?
Yeah, for sure. As long as I had a few weeks notice so that I can just cut the weight. But unless someone's happy to be like, yeah, look, we're not making weight, we're fighting it this way, and it's someone who's small, then yeah, but I'm not going to fight some big bitch, you know, like I have in the past. So they're just going to sit on me, and I'm going to lose my, you know, my contract, because this is my 4th fight. It's my 4th fight deal. That's all I've got. And if I'm not losing, I'm not taking a risk like that right now. So I got to be a little bit smarter with this fight. So I'm kind of like committing my all to it. But yeah, I definitely just want to fight at strawweight and get it done. Yeah.
So you would fight at 125, saying if it was a strawweight, not cutting weight.
Yeah. Like a strawweight girl like myself who'd lose a couple kilos. Like we're losing like 5 kilos tops. Like, you know, have a max out. But it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. Doesn't work like that. Yeah.
No, I mean, some girls cut a lot of weight to make that 25.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm not even talking shit about my last opponent. I don't care that she missed weight. Like, she missed weight. It was a bit concerning because I already had gone up to fly, you know? And she missed fly. And, like, checking her record, like, she's fought at bantam before. Meaning, if you fought a bantam, you must have cut some weight to get to bantam. At least a few kilos.
You're a little thick.
And I'm like, I walk at that. I walk at bantam. You know? So for me, I'm just like, that's you know, it can scare someone when it comes to power and stuff and weight, like. But yeah, you know, obviously I paid the price for that. But it's, as I said, learning process, and I took the risk, and I wanted the challenge, and I got it, and that's why, I feel like I can do better at 115.
What do you feel you learned from your last fight?
I feel like sometimes you can't train your chin to not get dropped. You can't train anything. You can't train your body. I mean, you can be conditioned and do a bit of want things like that, but I feel like my basics are lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I'm really good at doing really hard things, random things, and the ones and twos are not there. So that's what I've been working on the last 2 months. I've been training with, besides my coach, I've been training with an Olympic boxer. His name's Luke Jackson, and he's based in the eastern suburbs down here. And I've been training with him once a week and getting in that fundamental boxing in and really tightening up the game. And, from hand speed to accuracy and all. So he's great, he's tough, and he's got the fighter mentality, and he understands it all. So I don't have someone, just a random coach. Like, he's been through a lot, and he's really smart and educated in that field. So I trust in him, and I'm happy to see where it goes from there.
So is it safe to say, with this new meal plan, with this new boxing coach, we could see a huge evolution in the 187 era?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I really like to think so. I mean, I don't make any promises. I never promised to, as I always say, I don't promise to win, but I always promise a war, and I always promise to grow in each camp, and that's something that I can say to date I've always done. Yeah. So I commit to my word.
Now, you spoke earlier about a fight possibly being in the works. Is there anything you can tell us about that fight?
Well, I don't think it's gonna happen anymore. Let's just say the opponent was meant to be an American.
Okay.
So
it's kind of hard to have an American fight and an international fighter at this point in time.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It looks like it's gonna be someone else. God knows from where though. Could be Brazil. Could be anywhere. Like wherever we can be together. You know what I mean?
And it's weird because we don't even really know like what groups could be together. You know what I mean? Like, can the Brazilians go somewhere where the Australians can make it? Or is that going to be a problem too? I don't really know how this whole thing works. How do private islands work? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's just meant to be like whoever can leave the country and go. And if I can leave and just be quarantined for 2 weeks, I'll do it. Of course. It's nothing. I'll be cheering. We'll be eating like a fat bitch for 2 weeks in that quarantine. I'll be after dieting and all that. So like I want to be sitting there like having to train and all that. I can just chill and do what you got to do.
Yeah, and I'm sure the UFC will like put you up in a nice little spot to quarantine at for 14 days.
Oh no, they're not too budget. No, they're pretty good. They're good. I'm sure.
No, but definitely. Yeah. Now, for you, you're still very young in this game. I mean, you're what, 23, 24?
Yeah, I'm 24.
24 years young. So, I mean, your prime is still, 6 years ahead of you easily. What do you want out of this when you're all said and done and you hang up your gloves? What do you want to be remembered for?
Honestly, when I first started this sport, I never really wanted to be a champion, and I always said that. And I had the encouragement alongside me, you could be a champion, blah, blah, blah. But I never wanted that type of pressure on me, that I can't handle it. It's more like I didn't want it. It was always for myself, and all I wanted to do is be remembered as someone, who obviously made it in this sport, and especially in this country, because there's no, at the moment, there's like, I'm the only Australian living female UFC fighter. The other two are in the States. And the other two that used to be in the UFC have been cut, right? So, like, for me, that's an accomplishment in itself. I made the UFC. I have won in the UFC. And even though it doesn't matter. I've given it my all. And all I want to remember for is someone that has heart and never gave up and, gave it everything. No matter who says otherwise. I know the do. And the people that know me personally know that I have given it 100%, and that's really it for me.
Now, especially for you too, I think that there's so much more to you that people don't even understand. Like, you're such a much more complex person. Like, I've got to know you more on a personal level than on a professional level, and I feel like people don't even they
Yeah.
barely get to see you're an onion. They get to see a small layer of you. But I definitely feel like your prime is a couple years ahead of you, and you're going to excel in this sport, and you're going to do big things, and you're going to be known as one of the best Australian MMA fighters, not even just women.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Yeah, I love that. Appreciate it.
No, for sure. Especially just, for young women in Australia, like you said, you're the only one currently living in Australia that they have to look up to.
It's great. And I do get a lot of great support and messages on Instagram as well from even older women than myself, like, in their 30s or whatever it is. And it's really great to see. And I've actually made friends with one or two girls through Instagram that are from Sydney and that have, sent some positive vibes towards me. And, we've hung out and we've become friends, and it's been amazing. And then the other girls who, throw shade and they're trying to fight you, like they're from your country, like from Australia, and they're trying to get their way into the UFC, and they're trying oh yeah, we should fight and things like that. I think it's funny. They made posters. I won't drop anyone's name, but this person's made a poster about it, and then when I commented saying something, they get their friends to say things towards me on Instagram. I just laugh because I'm like, if you're actually from Sydney, I would literally come to your house, I would come to your house and kill you, but lucky you're from another state. You're safe over there. No one from here would dare say a word to me, and I dare them to, but I'm not. But I'm really friendly, and I don't come across like that. But if someone does cross my path, then feel prepared to feel the wrath, because I'm all about it,
She's a nice, quiet young lady. Then 1 second later, she will 187 you.
Just trying to be all I'm just trying to stick to my own and mind my own damn business. But yeah, if you want to do something else, then yes, we can be down if you like and be arranged. But yeah, trying to avoid that shit.
No, for sure. Well, I appreciate your time today. I don't want to take too much more of it. I want to give you an opportunity, though, to give a shout out to your sponsors, teammates, fans, anyone that's really helped you along your MMA journey.
Okay, so here's my sponsor list. I've got Cryoscience in Strathfield, Australian top team, Anomaly Performance, Fit and Healthy Chef, the Fight Dietitian, and the Sports Chiro Gokche, who works at Body Fit in Auburn. I hope I nailed all my sponsors, and I'm sorry if I missed anybody. But of course, I'm very thankful for everyone that's helped me along the way, from all my training partners, to my family, and to my personal friends as well, especially during this time. And I want to thank you, of course, for having me on. I always enjoy speaking to you, and we'll speak soon, definitely.
No, definitely. Especially when you get this fight booked, we will definitely be announcing it here. Where can the fans find you on social media?
Yes, my Instagram name is Nadia Kassem, and that's it.
And there you guys have it, Miss Nadia 187 Kassem, the pride of Australia. Thank you for joining us today, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
You too. Thank you.
All right, guys, welcome back. Nadia Kassem, thank you for joining us yet again. The pride of Australia. I really feel like that young lady is going to be going places. If it's not in the UFC, whatever her next contract brings her, whether it's Bellator or somewhere else, I really feel like she has a bright future. She's still very young, 24. She can make her way. If she doesn't, stay in the UFC, she could easily make her way back into the UFC after this.
Yeah.
Walid, this has been 59 episodes of our show. It's our very first one on a video, so I appreciate you and all the time that you give us for this. I want to sit back and think about what the fuck's going on, and it's just a wild time to be living in right now, and just everyone going through it. So I want everyone to be safe out there. Think about, what you're doing. Think about, the germs that you could be spreading around or not spreading around. Stay home, stay safe. That's the most important thing right now. Wally, while your country's on lockdown, my fucking entire country's on lockdown pretty much. It's a wild time to live in. So like I said, everyone just stay safe and stay classy.
Yeah, every country is on lockdown right now. I believe people are getting more and more tired of staying home, which is weird because you are just staying home. How can you get tired if you're not doing shit? So it's funny. But I understand them. People want to go outside. People want to go back to their lives. People have plans.
People are just getting cabin fever.
People have plans for 2020. People wanted 2020 to be their years, or you know what? It is what it is. After all this is done, let's be better person. Let's be better human being. Let's protect more the planet. Let's be more healthy. Let's eat more. Healthier. Let's practice more sport. Let's be nicer. Let's not go back to our bad behavior. But let's Let's maybe I'm telling them, man. I'm telling them. So it is what it is.
What I like to hear. More positivity, damn it. Don't be a dickhead like me. I'm a dickhead. Sorry, guys. Anyways, man, hopefully Bellator figures their shit out. We can go and catch some cards. I want to get you to an event. Hopefully they come out into France very soon, and hopefully they allow media back to them. I think media, unfortunately for you fans, is going to get there before the fans. But I honestly don't think fans will be attending events for a better part of a year, at least.
Yeah, I don't think. I believe maybe in 2021 we will have events with the full crowd.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, even the WWE, they had no fans for their WrestleMania. It was one of the strangest WrestleManias I've ever watched in my entire life.
At first, when I read that they will do the WrestleMania, I was thinking like, why? But you know what? I actually give them props, and I think that's
what we needed.
Yeah, it's the least selfish move that WWE ever made.
It was a great distraction. It was 2 nights worth of distractions that we didn't have to think about this coronavirus shit. We didn't have to think about lockdown. It was just a good family entertainment for me and my boy. My wife even watched a little bit of it, and she hates wrestling. Yeah. But we enjoyed it. It was a good times, and props to them for doing everything they do. And I can't wait. Dana's going to do everything he can to get the UFC back. That dude, I put so much faith in him. I want to give him props for everything that he tried to do, getting that card in April to come all together. Literally everybody stood in his way and told him that he couldn't do it. And he was going to get it pulled off until the top executives of Disney called him and said, hey, listen, we can't do it. We can't have it go on. So he said, all right, I'll stand down. But if it wasn't for that, we would have seen that fight go down a couple weeks ago. But we are going to get that fight in May. Here we go. Next weekend. I can't wait. Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson, interim lightweight title. It isn't Khabib versus Tony like we all thought, but it's a pretty good consolation prize. I could say so myself.
And it gave more time for Gaethje to prepare for the fight.
Yes,
so
it makes Gaethje even more dangerous.
Yeah, for Gaethje, it worked out very good for him. For Tony, I don't know. We will see. For Tony, I don't believe that it affected him at all. Maybe it affected him because now he had time to change his game plan. Because for sure, when you fight a guy like Khabib, you have a very clear game plan because nobody fights like Khabib. Yeah. So yeah. It will be a great fight. I hope that this fight will happen. I hope that we don't have a cancellation in the last minutes, even though I will have to say I will not be surprised if it happens.
Now, any last words before we get into the UFC 249 next week?
Not really. Darren Till's Instagram account is the best Instagram account right now.
He is keeping quarantine great again.
He's actually on that Black Beast level, which is hard, but he's
talking shit to everybody too. No one's off limits. Even like people who like comment on his stuff, he'll go after them like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck your mom too.
So if you're an MMA fan, you need to follow those two to have a laugh. And the one that you don't need to follow is Hector Lombard because it's the weirdest,
crazy,
unentertaining, useless account. Just about politics, not even the right way, just insulting. Like it's funny, but it's sad. It's weird. Just don't follow Hector Lombard.
Give that one an unfollow. Why don't you?
Yeah, give him an unfollow.
Follow him just to unfollow him one time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps it up. Episode 59. Thank you for joining us yet again. As always, we are out.
Peace.